to all my rising second grade boys and girls. How's everybody doing out there? I hope you guys had a great first week of Caterpillar Camp and that you were able to get in contact with your teacher or that they got in contact with you. I hope you found that working through the workspace book and playing the games that we played were fun. We're going to continue our learning this week, and today's goal, if you can see it there, is solving addition word problems. So we're doing this by identifying pairs. Remember, we talked about pairs. Or two, pairs of numbers with sums, the sum being the answer to an addition problem of 10. So we're continuing to identify pairs of numbers that add up to 10, and we are going to start solving word problems with two add-ins that have sums up to 19. So first we're going to review going up to 10, but we are going to add in all the way up to 19, which we learned in our spillover game. Today you will need your workspace book. It looks like this, and a pencil, so be sure to have a pencil to write with. And also, if you have been able to get into your M tools, that's where you will go and work on your virtual manipulatives. So make sure that you log in using the directions from your teacher. You're going to go to the website that your teacher provided you, log in using your 56 number at stlucyschools.org, and then your password, which is your lunch number, 6 digits long, so you're adding a 0 at the beginning if it is only 5 digits to make your password 6 digits long. So again, log in to your Do the Math website. You're going to click on Do the Math, which is the little red box, and then it will take you to your home screen and you can choose on M Tools so that you can work on the tools here. We're going to show you a little bit more of that later on in this video. But for now, I want you to think back about the book 10 Friends. Do you remember what this book was all about? I believe we were trying to decide what friends we would bring to a tea party? Correct. If we asked 10 friends to our tea party, who would our friends be? And as we were reading this book, we learned about lots of friends. Let's do a little review, and I'm going to write our friends on the board. Who did we meet in this story? We had 10 of something. 10 firefighters. Great. Remember, it was our crocodile firefighters? Let's see who else. Here's our 10 firefighters. 9 grizzly bears. We had 8 tailors and our 2 plumbers, which I'm going to add them later because I want us to go in order. 7 sailors. Did you all remember those sailors? We had 6 ballerinas and 4 frogs. What did we have 5 of? We had 2 5s because 5 and 5 makes 10. Our shepherds and our sheep. 5 shepherds. And we also had 5 sheep. I'm going to place those together. 4, I remember our frogs went with our ballerinas. 3, where was our 3? Oh, this is where we started to add lots more add-ins. 3 chauffeurs. We also had another 3. I remember matched with the 7. 3 drummers. We'll add our drummers here. 2 plumbers. and 1 forest ranger. Okay. These were all of our characters from our story. As we were reading about these characters, we had lots of combinations that gave us a sum of 10. 10 firefighters. Well, 10 by itself makes 10, so we left the firefighters alone. But when we had 9 grizzly bears, if we think back about our 10 frame, if we filled in 9 of these spaces to represent our grizzly bear, there would only be 1 space left. And that 1 space belongs to our forest ranger. Let's choose 6. Do you remember who paired up with the 6 ballerinas? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places me right here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 more spaces left, and those 4 spaces were left for our frogs. So these were our pairs that helped us add up to sums of 10. Now, the second part of our goal today was to solve word problems with 2 add-ins with sums up to 19. So when we're thinking about a sum of 19, we need that spillover onto our second 10 frame. I think when we had our pairs from our book, we only stopped at 10. We need to think of larger numbers that have sums of 19, which is going to be our next part of our video. Okay, boys and girls, our next part of our learning today is to solve word problems with 2 add-ins with sums up to 19. I took our character list from 10 Friends that was here, and I moved it onto our anchor chart paper. And I moved it here just because I want to be able to do some work on our board, but it's still the same characters that you showed me. Our 10 firefighters, our 9 grizzly bears, 8 tailors, 7 sailors, 6 ballerinas, 5 sheep, 4 frogs, 3 drummers, 2 plumbers, and 1 forest ranger. We're using that same list of characters, but we are going to start to plug them into a word problem. Now, when you think of word problems, we think of reading. But the easiest way to think about word problems is to visualize. Visualize means we're seeing what's happening in the problem. We read this book, 10 Friends, and we used our ears to listen, our eyes to see the pictures, and our thoughts to also help us see and visualize what was happening in the story as our characters came together. How were the amounts coming together? We used our eyes and our listening skills and our thinking to visualize what was in the story. So we have a problem stem here. There are blank. There are blank. How many friends are there in all? So I'm using those visualizing skills, visual skills, and there is a number. I don't know how many. There are another group or another number. Still don't know how many. But I'm going to take those and figure out how many are in all. So I have that picture in my head of 2 groups, and somehow we're going to combine them. Let's put some numbers here. Let's choose our 9 bears. Keep on visualizing. And 4 frogs. How's our frogs? Okay, now I'm going to visualize 9 bears, 4 frogs. I see these 2 groups. 9 bears, 4 frogs. There are 9 bears, there are 4 frogs. How many friends are there in all? 9 bears, 4 frogs. I know my goal is to have sums up to 19. When I think about 9 and 4, How do we know, or do we know, that there's going to be more than 10 animals? Are you thinking about that? Are you visualizing a 10 frame? If I know that I have 9 bears, when I put square tiles to represent those 9, there's only going to be 1 left to make 10. But we have way more than 1 frog, so I know my number is going to be greater than 10. I'm going to model this problem for you all, so I'm going to move my screen. I'm going to use green tiles to represent our bears. Count along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 bears. Next, I want to use yellow squares to represent my frogs. There are 4 frogs. I only have 1 space left in this 10 frame, and that one is complete, so I'm going to move my others to the spillover. So this was 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. How many yellow tiles did we need to fill up our 10 frame? Great job. 1 more yellow tile filled up our 10 frame, but we had 3 that spilled over. We can write 2 addition equations to match what we've modeled. 9 plus 4 equals, let's count it, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Or, remember when we have a full 10 frame, this becomes 10 plus our spillover of 3 equals 13. These are our 2 equations that would help us solve this word problem. Okay, boys and girls, so if I have this problem here, our equation was 9 plus 4 equals 13, or 10 plus 3 also equals 13. This problem, and we're going to try another set of animals. Okay. Let's choose, what do you guys think? What set of characters should we choose? Bears again? Tailors? No, oh, I hear ballerinas. I like that. 6 ballerinas. And somebody say sheep. 5 sheep. Okay, let's do our visualizing again. There are 6 ballerinas. Do you see your 6 ballerinas in this side? There are 5 sheep. I see my 5 sheep. How many friends are there in all? 6 ballerinas and 5 sheep. Again, I'm going to think in my 10 frame. If I have 6 tiles, how many more would fill up my frame? Once you know that, you will know, is our answer going to be greater than 10? If I have 6 ballerinas, 4 more tiles would fill up my 10 frame, but I have more than 4 sheep. So let's model what our problem is going to look like. I will use green tiles again for our ballerinas this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, perfect number. And there are 5 sheep. I already know that all 5 are not going to fit. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more. What is that? What does that mean? What do I have to do with this last one? Great job. It is going into our spillover frame. How many tiles did we use in all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So our 6 ballerinas plus our 5 sheep equals 11. Is there another way that I could write this equation? When we have a full 10 frame, we say 10 plus the spillover of 1, and 10 plus 1 is the same as 11. More problem. Remember, we're practicing our visualizing of the word problem, and that helps solve. What combination should we try next? I know we did the 9 bears. We have not used Taylor yet. Taylors? Okay, there are 8 Taylors. And let's say there are 7 sailors, because I like those words. They rhyme. Why not? This marker is running out. Let's use this blue so we can see that better in the screen. Okay, there are 8 tailors. Are you visualizing your 8 tailors on this side? 7 sailors. How many friends are there in all? 8 tailors, 7 sailors. Are you in your M tools yet? If you are, start to plug in the tiles that represent these numbers and see if you can solve it before I do on my 10 frame. 8 tailors and 7 sailors. You should be placing 8 green tiles in your 10 frame. And if you are not in your M tools yet, in your Do the Math module, that's okay. You could be drawing this out also on a piece of paper. You could be just visualizing it and thinking about, what do my 10 frames look like? Okay, 8 tailors, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sailors. Okay, are we ready to compare? Here's mine. How'd you guys do? 8 tailors, 7 sailors. 8 plus 7 equals 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And because we have a full 10 frame, 10 plus our spillover of 5 equals 15. These numbers represent what we saw in our problem. We knew that there were 8 tailors. And 7 sailors came along, and that equals 15. We also knew that we filled a 10 frame, so 10 plus 5 in our spillover also gave us 15. Okay. I would like for you to turn in your workspace book to page 14. You're going to work on some of these problems on your own, but let's practice one more from our actual book. So in your workspace page, you have directions at the top. Your directions say there are 4 frogs, there are 9 bears. How many friends are there in all? Read the problem. Step 2, color the 10 frames to match the problem. That was our problem that we did first on our board. So we put the green tiles and then the yellow tiles. And step 3, write your 2 addition equations. So for all these problems, number 1 through 5, we're going to do those 3 steps. But we're going to do number 1 together. So I'm going to switch over to my interactive tools so that I can show you how you'll work that out in your Do the Math website. So I've logged in and I have my workspace book next to me. I see number 1. I'm going to go into my M tools. No, actually, let's go into our lessons. I like going into the lessons because it takes me right where I need to be. And we're on lesson 8, 6 through 10, solving addition word problems. We did the spillover game last Thursday. We're here at solving addition word problems. And down below, we see our 10 frame. Okay, and we're actually going to add 2 of those because remember, our numbers are over 10 and they're up to 19. So in our first word problem, there are 3 drummers. Let's let our green represent the 3 drummers. There are 9 bears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many friends are there in all? So on your 10 frames, you have placed 3 green tiles to represent your drummers, 9 yellow tiles to represent your 9 bears, and then in your workspace book, you've colored in 3 green tiles and 9 yellow tiles so that your page looks just like your workbook here or your workspace here. And we need our 2 equations. One equation would be 3 plus 9 equals, let's count, 3 plus 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3 plus 9 equals 12. Or we have a completed 10 frame. So 10 plus 2 in our spillover box equals 12 as well. Okay, and then you would clear this out. We're going to leave our 2 10 frames, and you are going to work on 2, 3, 4, and 5. Be prepared to discuss that with your teacher. So you are doing workspace book 14, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I will see you all again tomorrow for another lesson.